Hello and welcome to Carpspiration Volume 2 from Taska. You join us on our way to our first filming location of the year, and we're actually en route to Denmark. Now, Denmark's not a country that's firmly associated with carp fishing at all, really. There's around 1,500 carp anglers in the entire country, I'm led to believe, and I know one of them. His name is Jonas, aka the Viking, and he's going to take us to a lake in the southern reaches of the country that's got some real nice dark and scaly mirrors to be had. Now, we don't know the full extent of the stock in there. We do know the ones that have been caught are really nice lookers, and we know some bods that have been fishing there recently. They've had fish up and above the 40-pound barrier, so it could throw up a real nice surprise on camera for you guys.
But on the way there, we're going to be stopping off in Belgium. Reason being is that we're meeting up with Gio from Monkey Climber just to sort out some advertising and business ideas for the next year. And while we're there, he's going to be treating us to an overnighter on one of his favourite canal spots. When we was coming off the ferry earlier on today, he actually texted me saying he'd done 1 hour after work last night and managed to double take on the spots we're going to be fishing. So it looks very good for a bite, and what a start that would be on the way to Denmark.
Be awesome, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and we won't quite be finished there. Tomorrow night we're heading up to Germany to fish again with another of Ben's mates, and yeah, hopefully we can bag another one there. It'd be great if we could have fish in all three countries that we're visiting, so Belgium, Germany and Denmark. So then the day after we'll be heading up to Denmark, and for the week ahead, yeah, we've got a week there, so let's get the rods out in Belgium, I say.
Let's do it.
Happy days. Okay, so we're here in Belgium, and first blood has fallen to me for a change. Lovely little common, probably shy of £10 or so, something like that. And most welcome. Harry and Kieran have got stuck into the breams, they're keeping them entertained. I'm going to put this one back and hopefully catch a few more bigger ones.
So, morning 2 of the trip to Denmark, and you join us in Belgium, attached to a rather angry carp. It doesn't really seem to want to give up. There was, through the night, we were struggling with a lot of bream, so I'm absolutely shattered. But times like this, you just got to make the most of it. We're only here for one night. I mean, Panch must have had the most bream out of all of us. He's probably up to about 8 bream now, but he's been fighting through them. And this does look like a rather decent common, so I'm gonna concentrate for a little bit now, because This will be my first carp from Belgium, and what a place to catch it. So here we are, what a great start to our trip to Denmark. Like we said, we stopped off in Belgium for a night with Gio, dropped onto one of his favourite little canal spots. Well, I say little, it's actually a giant shipping canal. But come 7 o'clock this morning, my left hand rod was one toning, was out playing that fish for about 5 minutes and looked over and Mr. Vanhooren was also into a carp. So what a great way to start. I think it's time to get a couple of photos of this, probably low 20 you'd say, Gio, this one?
Yeah.
And yours probably pushing mid 20?
24, 25.
Yeah, definitely. But regardless of size, I think it's time to get a couple of photographs, get them back on their way, and then head off to our next stop before we get to Denmark.
Right, so we were just on the verge of packing up, and H done me a little favour actually. He said I could have half hour in that spot that produced the goods for him this morning. And before I knew it, it was away. So first Belgium carp, this is tense stuff.
Days. Yeah! Lovely job, Panchal. Nice.
Right, so this is what we came for, an absolutely immaculate Belgian upper 20 wild canal common. Want to say a massive thank you to Gio for putting us in the right direction and helping us out a bit last night, and yeah, we really appreciate that. So now it's time to get off to Germany, see if we can bag one over there and in Denmark as well.
Good morning, or Guten Tag. We're here in northern Germany, just outside Hanover in a place called Mellendorf. We come see my mate up here last night. Didn't get here quite at the time we were expecting. I took a wrong turn on the motorway, which put us back several hours. Got lost somewhere in the middle of Holland, and we ended up turning up here in the middle of the night. It was pitch black, and we decided to jump in to one swim and just chuck one rod each out in the margin. Put a bit of bait out as we had there on the feed, but unfortunately for us it didn't quite come to fruition, and we had no German carps last night. It's quite a cool little area this actually, and I was excited to show the boys. When we turned up with Mark, I remember last year we were fishing on a German lake and there was lots of wolves around and wild boar. The wildlife here is pretty mental, and last night again we were sort of expecting to cross paths with a few of these giant pigs with tusks that seem to run around and cause havoc everywhere, and there's every chance there's probably a couple of wolves hanging around somewhere too, because there's plenty of them in this part of Germany. So it was a little bit spooky when we turned up last night. But we manned up and grouped together in one swim, which ain't too manly. And we're now going to get on our way up to Denmark, head up and meet Jonas, the Viking, and hopefully get stuck into some dark, scaly Danish carp.
so here we are at our final destination, Denmark. We arrived here at the lake early evening last night to a proper big expanse of water. It's a natural lake and it looks prehistoric. It could be thousands if not millions of years old. We really don't know. As for information about fish stock and about the lake in general, what we know is very limited. All we know is that we've got at least 10 carp in here purely from 10 different pictures of different fish that we've seen, but there could be tens, hundreds, thousands. Like I said, we really don't know. But it's all an adventure and that's what makes it exciting. We're just jumping into the unknown with this one and we can't wait to get our teeth stuck in, really.
Yeah, it was like as soon as we got out the truck, you know, we met Jonas and behind him was just this huge piece of water. And instantly we were looking at each other thinking, right, I'm getting my rod bag first, I'm getting my rods out. But we took a step back, took a breath and thought, no, we've got to make a good decision for the rest of the week that will give us a good chance of catching. So Jonas suggested we take a walk down to the far end, which you could see behind us. And there was a very strong southwesterly blowing down there yesterday. Normally they are very warm winds, which is good for carp. Carp will always follow a warm wind, but it was freezing. We was all in hoodies and after 5 minutes of standing in the swim, we was all shivering. So we knew it was time to jump back in the truck, drive around here to where we've set up camp now. And it was instantly a lot warmer. I mean, it's completely sheltered from the wind, so hopefully that's where the carp are going to be as well. But saying that, this bit of water that you can see behind us, believe it or not, is only a very small segment of the lake itself. Over to our south, there is a lot
more water. It's probably another 70 acres or
There's
so.
no other way to put it. It's a huge piece of water with loads of different little bays and channels that lead onto different areas.
Yeah.
So we really are fishing for the unknown, and
it's such an interesting place.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's one of these waters where we just don't know what we're walking into. Like we said, we try to do as much research as possible before we come in here. My connection, Jonas, we spoke on the phone several times before we come out here. He sent us as much information as possible. And even when we got to the lake, like yesterday, we spent a bit of time speaking to some of the local anglers, trying to find out as much information as possible so that we could arm ourselves with the right information to fish this place effectively. It's a big expanse of water and we needed some local info to point us in the right direction. We believe where we are is a good area. It's relatively flat out there. There's not so many features at all, so we've created some nice beds of baits and almost created our own feature. Yeah. There's plenty of options for us to fish to, and we've got this whole expanse of water behind us, so it's a case of we're going to do a bit of trial and error, try a few different approaches and see how the week pans out, to be honest with you, because we just don't know what to expect, but there's a chance of an amazing, nice Danish scaly carp. And that's what we've come here for, and we're extremely excited to try and get one.
Let's have one tonight then, boys.
See what tonight brings.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully it's not too many bream.
So here we go, it's the first bite from Denmark. It's not what we come here for at all, but nevertheless we thought we'd put it on camera, seeing as you saw me playing a fish for a little bit. So yeah, I think it's time to get her back and try and attempt to get this rod back out 300 yards out into the middle of the pond. So yeah, thanks Mr. Bream.
Big up Barry the Bream.
Barry Bream.
So we're trying to find some information out about this particular lake. It's a bit of an unknown to us. We're in the middle of southern Denmark. Before we come out, we've done a fair bit of research. We spoke to our local connection here called Jonas, and the information he got was relatively limited. He knows that it's got the potential to hold some big fish in here, and some of the locals that he spoke to have been very coy, very secretive, and they've not given away too much information, so it makes us believe there's something they're trying to protect in here, and there's something quite special to go at. We've seen some pictures of some really, really nice dark Danish carp, so sort of around the 30-pound mark. We know some guys that have had them over 40. In fact, we spoke to a few locals that had come into our swim yesterday, and when we were walking around, we spoke to a few anglers as well. All of them seemed to be relatively shy on information. They didn't give us too much to go on, and it was as if you were going to a lake in the UK where you've got a load of secret squirrels that are telling you what you need to know, but no more. And it's got us quite excited, to be honest, because now we're sort of feeling that there is something proper inside this lake that we can go at. It's been extremely hard so far. We've only been here 2 nights. We've not seen any definitive signs of carp. We've seen some feeding bubbles, we've seen a few splashes around, but there's a multitude of species in this particular lake, so we just don't know what the fish are. We have not seen a definite carp bosh. So we're just going to keep watching the water, keep trying to locate those fish, and hopefully one of those dark Danish scalies will end up in our net. Like big baits.
No worries. When are you coming back down, or tomorrow? That's cool, no worries. We'll see you tomorrow then.
See you, thank you.
All the best, have a nice evening.
Good friend, action mate.
Oh mate.
That's a flag. Biggest one of the trip, boys.
Losing all my leads on these.
Quite a decent one, to be fair. Well, it is at the minute. We're definitely being more breamy than we are carpy, so
Yeah.
put this fella back. Don't do that on the weekends. Don't start thinking that. So we thought we'd take 5 minutes to show you through our baiting approach here in southern Denmark. As you know, the lake that we're fishing is absolutely colossal. It's a massive piece of water. And there's 2 sort of key rules in carp fishing for me. Number 1 is locating the carp. You cannot catch what isn't there, so location is essential. Then number 2 that follows shortly after that, give the carp a food source that they're going to come back to time and time again and enjoy eating. So choosing a bait that you've got confidence in for trips like this is absolutely top priority, and we've chosen a selection of NutriBaits products that we've used back in the UK for several months now, and we've got utmost confidence in the bait. They've got high nutritional value, and they've got some fantastic flavours in the range that are going to do your fish wherever you go. Now, this particular mix that I'm going to show you is what we're putting out onto our main spot in the middle. We've each got a rod on it. In fact, Panchal's got all 3 of his out there. Myself and Harry have just got 1 rod each on the edge. And the main basis of the mix is it's all boilie. There's no particles or anything like that at all, because there's lots of nuisance species in here. There's a big head of bream, lots of tench, lots of large roach and rudd as well. So we don't want to be waking up in the middle of the night to takes from nuisance species where we've got to row our baits back out 300 plus yards again. So we've made sure that our mix is just purely to try and target the carp and get them to home in on our bait. Now, what we're putting in here is a mixture of 3 different types of boilie. The first one is cream kajausa. It's quite a creamy bait, quite a sweet food signal comes off of that, and it's actually made with a bird food base mix. And the second bait that we're using is trigger. It needs no explanation at all. It's a renowned big fish bait. It's caught big fish all over Europe, time and time again, and it just proves itself year on year. So we've got the trigger in the mix, and we've also got trigger with added pineapple and butyric acid, just to give the mix a bit of a fruity edge. And that mix all together with the creamy baits, the high fish meal bait and trigger, and the trigger and pine butt, we think it gives a fish, a bit of variety. There's a lot of flavours there for them to go at, a lot of food signals, and on top of that we have one little extra edge that we're putting in, and we think this is what's going to make all the difference. Now, this is what I call liquid luck. It's called liquid krill, and it's pure, unadulterated krill liquid. It's probably the best carp additive that you can find. And what we're doing is just putting a nice big dollop of this on top of our mix, so it all soaks in. And what that's going to do is create a real strong food signal that's going to kick up from the bottom, ooze out, and allow those carp to home in on our spot. Got a tough decision to make this morning, boys. It's crunch time. We've got to catch some carp in Denmark, and that's the ultimate goal. And we've got to do whatever we can to do it. And I think let's give it one more night, and then tomorrow morning, crunch time. Right, so this morning we're faced with a pretty tough decision. We're 4 nights in now in Denmark, and it's one we chose, we thought was the right spot. It screamed carp, it had all the features that we wanted. We had some deeper water out in the middle, we had some nice marginal spots, we covered all bases, we baited heavily, we baited light, we moved rods around, and we really worked the swim to try and get a bite. And all we got was bream after bream after bream, and the carp just didn't show up. So today we've got 2 more days left, or 2 more nights left, to try and recover the DVD and catch ourselves what we came out here for, which is an old, dark, scaly Danish carp that's probably older than myself and Harry put together.
Yeah, last night was the final straw, I think.
It was.
We said we'd give it one more night. Yeah, and nothing came to fruition last night, did it? So I think got no choice but to up 6 and move. But if there were fish here, we would have seen them. We would have had a bite in 3 nights. But
we had some good information given to us by one of the locals that come round last night as well, and he advised us to move further down the lake to our south, where this lake connects to the larger lake, and there is sort of a shallow bay before the channel which leads into the other lake, and he recommends that we fish in there and just dot our rods all around the far margin.
apparently that's a little holding area for the fish. We haven't seen any yet. We have had a little look round, but it does look...
It looks right,
like
doesn't it?
Where,
it looks right.
Where the fish are going to be, yeah.
So we're going to go around there. We're going to give it a go. And as I said, it's 48 hours now. The clock's ticking. We're here for one reason and one reason only, and that's to catch a Danish carp. So we're going to up sticks, get the camp pack down, get around there with minimal gear, and spend the last 2 nights on the bank in another part of the lake, and try and hopefully winkle one out for you. So let's get the stuff ready and let's get going, boys. Yeah,
let's do it.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, you join us in our final swim of the session. We've got 2 nights left, and like we were saying this morning, we feel that we had to move. Where we was, the fish, they weren't there. If they was, I think they would have started eating the bait at least, and we would have got some indication that they were there. But we just continued to get plagued by bream. So we've moved to the shallower end of the lake. It's a little bay with loads of lily pads and reeds, and also a channel that leads into the bigger lake.
Oh, go on.
Pick up the other rod. So that was what we've been waiting for all week, really. Panchal was unlucky to get cut off earlier on in the week, and then we've done everything we can to get another bite. I mean, blood, sweat and tears, really, literally. And as you just see, I had a bite and started taking line down the channel to the other lake. Come right out on the edge of the boat. Ben's pushed me out and just couldn't get an angle on it, and started putting a bit of pressure on, and the hook pulled. So don't really know what to think. Just a bit.
I am speechless. We've only gone and done it, haven't we? We've done it.
Oh my God.
Literally, we were on the verge of winding our last couple of rods in, and it's hooked over, and this is probably one of the most incredible moments of all of my fishing ever.
Yeah.
This is a special, special old Danish fish.
And we've worked so hard for it, boys. This week
Blood,
has been
sweat and tears.
Absolute grueler. And to blank for how many nights on the trot? 7 nights on the trot, just trying to find this carp. We made a last-minute decision to move last night. It was absolute last knockings that we got to take as we were packing up, getting ready to go home. And what a result. I mean, this fish is probably older than us two combined, mate.
30, 40 years old, apparently. These older originals. This is an original, isn't it, mate?
And it's a common.
Not many commons in here, apparently, so it makes it even more special. Potentially the big common as well, we don't know.
Yeah, that is what carp fishing is all about.
It's been a proper adventure. And it's so rewarding. When you work this hard and it all comes good in the end, that's what it's all about.
Team effort, boys. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed us doing a bit of globe trotting and travelling very far east across Europe to come and catch some of these
Danish carp.
But sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of the DVD.
Plenty more fish to come.
It's going to be a banger.
Over and out.
Bye.